we had something pretty exciting come in the mail today. We're looking at the 2025 Arctic Leopard XE Pro S. Over the course of about the past year, I've been watching tons of videos on these emotos and I've just been super impressed by what they can do, how capable they are, how fast they are, how much range they have. And so if you've been watching any of our other videos or following our Instagram, we've got a bunch of the Greenworks Stealth mini bikes and we've just had an absolute blast riding them, and we just love having them around. They're quiet, they're quick, they're just a great time. So I've really been wanting to upgrade to something more like this, so we're gonna unbox it and see what we got. I've been really curious about the emotos, so I'm super excited to try this out. Right off the bat, this thing comes in a wooden crate, which is quite a bit more sturdy than the cardboard box or plastic wrapped metal frames that these bikes come in. I'm beginning to see why Bikes and Beards uses a chainsaw when he opens these things up. So right off the bat, we've got the front tire. A lot of people aren't so sure about these dual sport tires. I think I'm gonna like them. Who knows, maybe after a few trail rides I'll change my mind, but I don't think I'll mind the dual sports. So after a bit more fighting with it, I was able to get the box to come off. These metal tabs come wrapped around just like that. You'll just want to take a flathead screwdriver and stick it in there and bend it straight like these ones are. All right, so let's see what we got. You got those nice KKE front forks that I've been hearing so much about. I've heard mixed opinions on these, but from what I gather, these are top of the line, and honestly, something that people are surprised comes stock on this bike. There it is. So these bikes come already pretty well assembled. Looks like we're gonna have to put the front forks, the handlebars, and the tire on. And honestly, I think this thing's about ready to go. Found the battery charger. Gonna get that going. Get the front fender. Got the foot pegs. All right, we got the handlebars. Some people have complained about these being too narrow, so that's another thing that I'll have to just look at and check out and see if I like them. Now, one thing I haven't seen is any kind of instruction manual in here. All right, so something I did off camera was I loosened this so you can remove this top piece. And now we can install the front forks. So as somebody who's never assembled a motorcycle out of a box before, I'm having a little bit of trouble with the front fork. But one thing I just noticed was I didn't know where the keys were or the front axle, so I started to panic and think maybe they didn't send me everything. So something that might help you out is I found the front axle under the seat, as well as the keys. And I don't quite know what these are yet, but these are in there as well. So if you can't find everything, don't panic. Just pop the seat off and see if there's anything extra in there. So it looks like one thing I gotta do is I gotta get this linkage hooked up. So I'm gonna do that. Well, I struggled for a bit, but I'm finally making some headway on the bike. Honestly, I'm not gonna get as in depth on the assembly as I thought I was going to. In fact, I'm even going to YouTube to find information on how to put this thing together. So honestly, if you're looking for an in-depth video on how to assemble this, I don't think there's one out there yet, but Charged Cycle Works has a full assembly of the bigger Arctic Leopard, and I've been following that for assembling this. The logistics are slightly different, but overall it's pretty similar. All right, there you have it. I think this thing looks about ready to rip. I'm gonna go see how much the battery charged, and maybe we'll take this thing for a spin. Almost forgot the foot pegs. All right, let's see what we got. That's interesting. All right, screen came on. Let's try the key. All right, we have power. Looks like we're at, oh, it says 100%. Okay. Try not to run my camera over. Let's see what we got. Holy smokes. This thing is ridiculously torquey. Oh my gosh. This bike is insane. Already this bike is really impressing me. This bike is pretty epic. This thing's gonna be so nice to have going forward on adventures. Tomorrow we're gonna be taking out to Snively Gulch Trail along with the mini bikes and Ruben's Jeep. And we're gonna see how good this thing does off-road. Already I've just ridden it around some fields and a couple of trails, and this thing's insane. Probably shouldn't have gone over here in the mud. All right, we're on the road here. We're sitting at a slight incline, so let's see what this thing can do in mode 2. This thing's crazy. That already felt like plenty. Oh my god. Oh my god. Jeez. That's insane. Crazy about this bike is even in mode 4 you can manage the throttle really well, but then it just rips when you need to. God, breaks that back tire loose super easy. Oh my gosh, this thing wheelies like no other bike I've ever ridden. I'm getting back in the mud again. I think I'm gonna dial it back to mode 3 at least. Oh my gosh, that's throwing mud down my back. Oh, that was a bad idea. Jeez, this thing puts the power to the ground so well. It just rips. Oh my god. I don't know if you can tell how steep that is, but that was a pretty steep hill and I kind of stopped on it and this thing just ripped right up it. Alright, I'm going to dial this thing to mode 1 and see if it can do that same hill. Mode 1 feels so peppy too. It still throws gravel pretty good. Honestly, anybody could probably ride this thing in mode 1 and still kind of be able to have a good time. Oh yeah, not even a problem. Now I will say the seat is pretty stiff. People said it's not the most comfortable seat and I can agree with that, but honestly, that's not that big of a complaint. I'm just gonna see if I can crawl up this. Yeah, not a problem. I've gone 14 miles on my new Arctic Leopard and I still have 55% battery left. That's pretty good because this thing wasn't quite topped off, I don't think, when I started. And I've been ripping it pretty hard. I can't really go back to the house because Doug's gonna see me and want to follow. One thing I will say is this thing could use a beefier horn. Even the mini bikes sound better than that. You ready? So right now, Ruben and I are gonna actually go scout a trail we're riding tomorrow. We're basically just checking to see if the river's too high to cross with the bikes. We'll be trying that bike out on the trail and seeing how it does on a level 6 out of 10 difficulty on OnX map. So I guess we'll see how that goes. I already got this thing muddy. All right, as far as first impressions, I am blown away by this bike. I don't have much experience on emotos, but I've ridden dirt bikes since I was a little kid, and this bike is just insane. I'm just blown away already. This bike is just a blast to ride. It's got great range. It does good on the street and in the mud and dirt. We're gonna do that trail ride tomorrow and see what it can really do. But man, I think I made a good choice picking the Arctic Leopard. To anybody getting into the sport, it's manageable enough that if you don't have too much experience riding powerful bikes, you'll be able to pick it up no problem. You can keep to the lower modes. Mode 1 is super tame. Almost anybody could hop on it and have a great time. Mode 2 is pretty good for people who are fairly experienced on bikes. And Mode 3 and 4 are, I'd say you definitely want to be an experienced rider in those modes. The throttle's still manageable. Like, I could basically crawl real slow if I needed to and creep through some technical stuff that I need to in Mode 4. But man, when you pop the throttle, it just goes. It's something else. Yeah, I'm blown away. This bike is, it was a good buy. I think anybody looking to get into emotos for, you know, the mid-size category, it's worth looking into the Arctic Leopard for sure. That's just my first ride impressions. So far, I love it. I think there could be some adjustment done in the shocks, and we'll see what little tweaks need to be done as I continue to ride it on trails. But overall, this is my new favorite bike, and we're gonna be taking it on a lot of trips. We have that trip tomorrow, and we have more trail rides to come. I've got a lot of plans for this bike, so stay tuned, like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. It's a little deep yet for crossing, so here's my plan. We start from the other end, work our way to here, eat lunch on that side of the river, and go back.
Sure.